first off, well done on your call up to the England side.
Thank you.
So we've just got a few questions we want to ask you. Start off with, what does it mean to you to be called up to the England?
Very overwhelming. It's kind of always what I wanted from a young age. It's always been like a goal in the back of my head, but I never thought if I'd actually get there. So I just kept training hard and just hoping the outcome would take care of itself, and it has, and I'm very overwhelmed from it. So it does really mean a lot, especially to my family and friends as well, because they know how much time and effort I've put into it. So it's very overwhelming, but yeah, I'm very happy.
So you used to play for Derbyshire up until a year ago.
Yeah.
Played throughout the whole pathway.
Yeah.
What is one or two of your fondest memories of your time here?
I find it hard to narrow it down to a few, but just certain little things. So one of them was I think we had a double-header weekend, and we got a double promotion to Division 2, and we won it at my home club as well, Denby, so it was kind of extra special. And I remember we played all like these silly games after, and it was just, we were proper celebrated, and we just all really came together, and it wasn't just like the teammates, it was like the parents who came to watch and all the families, so that was kind of a special day for me particularly. And then little things like we used to train on a Sunday morning like for 3 hours, and you think, God, this is a long morning, but we'd just get together and it'd actually just be so much fun. We always just kind of trained with a smile on our face while still pushing ourselves. So just little things kind of, especially off the pitch as well, when we'd have long weekends away, like sometimes we'd be playing in Wales or up in Yorkshire, and they were always kind of long treks and stuff, and so you got to like bond with your teammates out off the pitch. So just little things like that for me were quite special, for me anyway.
In terms of your time at Derbyshire, do you think that prepared you for the success and stuff you had at the Kia Super League? So obviously you were part of Love the Lightning. Yeah. I just want to talk a little bit about what that was.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been at Derbyshire since I can remember, since I was maybe 11, 12, 13. I literally can't remember. I've been involved that long, and I think it definitely prepared me from when I was kind of young, because I remember playing like in an age group a couple of years younger. So when I was like 13, I was playing 15s, and I think I played my first under-17s or women's debut when I was 13, 14. So sometimes I've come up against women a lot stronger than me, and I'd be under pressure. And my teammates definitely helped me cope with that and find strategies. So some days when it didn't go as well, I speak to like the captain, especially working with Charlotte Horn, and she was a captain as well. She helped me quite a bit, like come up with plans and stuff. So over the time, I have been under pressure in some parts, but the main thing for me is I always managed to find a way of enjoying it, even when it got tough. So, and I think that's the main thing when you get to the next level. You can't just not take it fully seriously, otherwise there's no point. You've got to find that enjoyment side of it, and I think Derbyshire definitely helped me that over the years, and I kind of learned how I was and how to go about things as I got older, as the years went on, really.
In terms of your experience in the Super League, do you think that pressure situation has prepared you for this next step up to England?
Yeah, no, it definitely has. There's been plenty of times where, well, to me, every game I felt under pressure, because you're playing against some of the best in the world. All the overseas, you're playing against England players, and even if they weren't England or overseas, they were still really tough competitors. So you did feel under pressure quite a lot, especially near kind of my last KSI was a few times bowled in the power play, so even a bit more kind of pressure. So I've definitely learnt my game a bit more on how I go about things over those 3 years of the Super League, and I think that definitely has kind of prepared me for Malaysia, because I think there's going to be plenty of times where I think I'm going to be under the pump, or I'm not sure, and I'll either learn from it, or I'll hopefully put in the skills that I've learnt from the Super League into the game, really. So I'm hoping that'll be the case.
When you first started off playing cricket, what motivated you to get involved? So you played at Denby, still do. What got you into
What motivated me was that it was literally, I know I keep going on about it, but it was enjoyment again. So it's literally turning up and playing with your mates, especially like my family's heavily involved into the club as well. They've all played cricket as well. So the kind of motivation was just the amount of enjoyment I got out of it, and all that competitiveness side to it as well. And then as the years went on, what motivated me was just to keep pushing my game on and challenging me, challenging myself, because each kind of step I went up to in age group, it just got that little bit tougher, and sometimes I remember staying at the same level for a bit and I didn't really enjoy it. At that kind of point I thought, no, I want to push on, and that's how I found my enjoyment, really. So kind of what motivated me was my friends and family, really, personally.
So in terms of your biggest role models or your biggest inspirations in cricket, who would you say you look up to?
I'd say there's quite a few, to be fair, but a couple that stand out for me are probably Wayne Madsen and Jenny Gunn. I kind of know of them quite well, and how they go about things, how hard they train, is just unbelievably good, and they're just really good people to look up to, and how successful they've been as well. To me, it's just more how they've gone about things and how hard they train. So they're probably my two kind of cricketing models. And another way I look at it in terms of role models for me personally are my family. They've all been involved with cricket at some point and still are playing now. And just how much they've supported me is unreal. Like the amount of times they've took me to games, been there when I've had rubbish days, or celebrated me on the good days. To me, they're just such big role models, and they've kind of all gone into different careers now. Like my sister's a nurse in A&E, my brother and dad are programmers, and they've worked so hard at their jobs, and they always still have time to support me if I need anything. So just how they've gone about things and how much support they are, like, to me that's a really big inspiration, and probably that's how I'm here now. So I'm just very grateful, and so they're quite big role models to me.
When you were a junior cricketer, so obviously this is really big news getting into the England squad, but what would you say is one of your proudest moments as a junior cricketer?
I'd have to say it would be when I achieved my second 100. I mean, scoring my first 100 was amazing, don't get me wrong, it was really special. But the second 100 was when I was a bit older, so I was in the under-17s. And we were playing against Scotland, and I remember we played a few games against them that was quite competitive. And then I remember scoring my century, and again it was at my home club, Denby, and I knew a lot of my family and friends came to watch and saw it as well. So, and then we went on to win, and it was just a really special day. And I was battling with one of my best friends, Alice, as well, and she was kind of there to share the moment. So that day was quite special for me. It wasn't just scoring 100, but it was scoring 100 against like a stronger team. And when I was a bit older, and it was at my home club, so that was probably one of my special moments.
You could give one key message to any young girl who's currently in a cricket pathway anywhere. What would that message be?
Again, I've said it plenty of times, but for me it's just enjoyment, because that's, I think, how I feel like I wouldn't have got here if not. There was some stages when I was younger where I realised kind of the talent I could potentially have, and I kind of started looking ahead of myself and thinking, and I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I got to the point where there was no enjoyment of it, and I nearly quit, and it was quite a tough time. And you have those phases when you do take yourself seriously, but you find out that you're not yourself, you don't go about things how you normally would do, and then it kind of spirals into one. So the main thing is just to enjoyment, and just look up with people, and if you see a really talented lady or woman who you might look up to and you think, oh God, how am I going to get there? Like, you really can if you just put the time and effort in, and get your family and friends supporting around you. I'm sure there's nothing stopping you getting to that level, as long as you enjoy it throughout the whole time.
One final question. Obviously there's been a new strategy released on how to promote and inspire new women and girls to get into the game. So are you excited about these new changes, these new things that are happening?
Yeah, no, I am. It's quite. I wasn't sure at first. I was a bit nervous, not going to lie, thinking what's going on here. But I think so especially the 100 ball, the fact that the women are lining up with the men's teams. You can already see, especially on social media, how many followers we're getting and how many people are engaging and talking about it. And the fact that it's been aired on BBC, meaning that so many more people can watch it, I think is really good for the women's game, because there's still some people I know I speak to and they kind of don't know of it, or they're still not sure about it, and it's horrible to hear, and you think, no, we're just like, we train just as hard as the men, we put in just as much of the time, but obviously it's tougher when we don't get that publicity. So I think the fact of getting all that publicity and how successful the last 4 years of KSL have been as well, particularly, has really pushed that on as well. I remember after every year of KSL, like more people were talking about it, and it's gradually increased. And I think the fact that now, and that was when the men and women were quite separate, but now that we're coming together, I think that's really going to put a boost on it and hopefully motivate a lot of young girls and women to take up cricket.
Thank you, Sarah, for sitting down and talking today.
Thank you.
And all of us here at the Cricket Board wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. I said how much I relate to
related to them.
I mean, I said how much I've got
a bloopers reel out of this.
Okay. Oh my god, yeah, actually good. Actually, that's quite a good idea. Okay. I feel like Joey, I'll probably look down. Okay, the camera, but I should just probably say what I think. Okay.
Well, biggest inspirations and role models that you've been
Sorry, I was trying not to laugh.
at the top of it.
So, I was like, you said, I can't remember, I don't know, I was really focused. Okay, so I was like, yeah, try not to laugh.
So in terms of your biggest inspirations,
So sorry, right, okay, I can do this, sorry. Breathe! Sorry, I'm laughing, okay. What was I saying? Okay. And then another way to look at it in terms of, I'll start again. So I'm just going to get into a spiral, you just just keep going. Last little bit, okay.